interest among women can only help Home Depot's bottom line. Sales numbers have been climbing steadily to nearly $65 billion last year. While it may be dollars and cents for businesses hoping to tap into this growing market, for do-it-yourselfers, it's all about a different kind of sense, one of accomplishment.
It's more than do it yourself. It's more like do it my way.
Jean Lee, CBS Market Watch, New York.
A recent survey indicates the #1 reason women take on home improvement jobs is to save money. Well, that does it for this edition of Market Watch Weekend. Next weekend, which drug companies are in the race to bring Viagra for women to market? I'm Alexis Christoforous. Here's to a happy, healthy, and profitable 2006. Until next time, we'll see you on the World Wide Web.
Market Watch Weekend has been brought to you by Oppenheimer Funds, the right way to invest.
We're getting involved with the Bally 30-day program to lose our collective pregnancy weight.
It's great we're doing it together. It's definitely a new chapter for us.
Get it together today. Join Bally Total Fitness now for no money to start and get a free personal training session.
Here we are 30 days later, the new and approved Hickman.
The best thing is losing my gut.
I've lost a total of 13¼ inches. I feel really good right now, and I know what.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to cop a feel.
Meet your potential. Call 1-800-FITNESS for the club nearest you.
To stock over $40 million in furniture inventory, size does matter. My distribution center is like a big town, soon to be a city.
No way.
Way. So if you hate to wait, don't. See this bedroom? Come and get it.
That's a solid wood bedroom.
Complete at only $7.99.
No way.
Way. Find it elsewhere for $7.99, and I'll paint my hair pink.
What hair?
Saving you piles of dough. That's the magic of my Bobs.
Ultima, Armada, Frontier, Maxima, Murano, Pathfinder, Quest, Sentra, Titan, Xterra, Z. Nissan's A to Z year-end event. Your chance to get year-end deals on America's most exciting full line. Like a $289 per month lease on the 7-passenger Pathfinder at your Nissan dealer now. Style, performance, value from A to Z.
Happy New Year from all of us at CBS 2.
And with that, we say goodbye to 2005 and welcome in 2006.
Look at that. Nearly 1 million people crammed Times Square to welcome in the new year. I was among them last night.
I was saying, you and I both working. You were there.
Yes, we were. I was out in the middle of it all. Well, good morning. It's 7 o'clock on this New Year's morning. I'm Tamsen Fadal in this morning for Lynda Lopez.
Hey, good to have you with us. I'm Reid Lamberty. We will have a full recap of the New Year's celebrations in just a moment. But first, we begin with our check of our forecast with Jeff Berardelli. Good morning, JB.
Hey, good morning, guys. Happy New Year, everyone. Before I start the weather, I want to ask you what your New Year's resolution is. If you have a New Year's resolution, you can send it to our website. You can email it to me, jberardelli@cbs.com. It's right there on the bottom of the screen. And if you can't copy it down, you don't have time, you can always go to our website, WCBS-TV.com. You can find it there. All right, behind me right now, you can see a picture of Times Square basically cleared out from a very, very big night last night. During the day today, we're going to see nothing but some clouds this morning and some sunshine this afternoon. We're not really looking at any precipitation, if you will. Of course, we had that quick burst of snow yesterday. Here's your forecast today, starting out with clouds. We'll break up those clouds this afternoon, leading to some sunshine, a high right around 39. By the way, right now, temperatures in the 20s northwest and around 32 in the city. We have a lot of stormy weather to talk about. We'll do it in just about 10 minutes. Reid.
All right, Jeff, thank you so much. Of course, our top story, New Year's Day in the Big Apple. Really nothing quite like it. At the stroke of midnight, pandemonium. 7 hours later, you could hardly tell anything had happened at all in Times Square. CBS 2's Tanya Rivero is live at the crossroads of the world with much more. Good morning, Tanya.
Good morning and Happy New Year, Reid and Tamsen. So it's the day after the big celebration here at Times Square, and the cleanup effort is still well underway. It was the countdown heard around the world here at the crossroads of the world, where huge crowds gathered to watch the ball drop and ring in the new year.
There's nothing like it. I mean, this kind of experience you'll never beat anywhere.
Security was tight as partygoers jostled for a good spot, but even a little snow and sleet didn't interfere with the good times.
Love it! Love it! It's the best year! We're going to be a better year this year!
Mayor Bloomberg and jazz musician Wynton Marsalis did the honors at midnight, pushing the button that lowers the New Year's Eve ball. And when the party broke up, the cleanup began. 1 million or so revelers left quite a paper trail, leaving the Times Square cleanup crew plenty of work to do.
I wanted to see the after effect of what it looked like after the big celebration. The cleanup, you know, when everyone's gone, you get to see it empty, sort of. So you get a different perspective than during the day.
We find there is a second wave of revelers here in Times Square this morning. Some simply don't want the party to end. Others are coming here for the first time, as that last gentleman, to see how Times Square is sobering up. We're live in Times Square this morning. Tanya Rivero, CBS 2 News. Tamsen.
Tanya, thank you. Well, Manhattan hosted another big New Year celebration, but this one thousands of miles from New York. Thousands flocked to Manhattan, Kansas to help usher in 2006. The big attraction there was the 3rd annual Apple Drop. It may not have been Times Square, but it was quite a party. Anyway, look at that. The plexiglass apple is affectionately known as the Little Apple. Down south, they celebrate by watching the peach drop. The celebration in Atlanta is centered around an 800-pound giant peach that drops to the ground to count down the new year. More than 100,000 revelers turned out for the event. The band Collective Soul also performed a free concert. And it wouldn't be a new year without seeing the old acorn go down. That's right, in Raleigh, North Carolina, the new year is marked by the lowering of a 1,200-pound copper acorn from a crane. More than 75,000 people turned out to see it all happen.
Well, staying in the South Louisiana, certainly hoping 2006 will be better than 2005. Now, you can't see it because of the fog, but a huge gumbo pot dropped down a 25-foot pole to bring in the New Year's in New Orleans. Thousands danced in the streets as fireworks exploded. A bright 2006 sign. The gumbo pot replaced the ball torn apart by Hurricane Katrina. Another sign things are returning to normal in the Crescent City. The Port of New Orleans saw its first cruise ship since Hurricane Katrina drove all the ships out of the area. The Delphin Renaissance made a one-time visit yesterday for an around-the-world cruise. The 600-passenger luxury liner leaves New Orleans later today and will sail on to St. Petersburg, Florida.
The last day of the year was another day of bloodshed in Iraq. A total of 20 people were killed in bombings and shootings across the country. One blast in northeast Baghdad took the lives of 2 Iraqi police officers and critically injured another U.S. soldier who also died from wounds suffered in an earlier attack. That brought the number of American casualties in 2005 in Iraq to 841. U.S. troops did take time to mark the beginning of a new year at the stroke of midnight. Soldiers from the 4th Infantry Division in Fort Hood, Texas, threw rolls of toilet paper into the air. In another part of Iraq, a New Year's music and comedy show was staged for members of the military.
Back here at home, Mayor Bloomberg will take his second oath of office this afternoon at a special ceremony at City Hall. CBS 2 political reporter Andrew Kurtzman takes a look at the challenges he's facing.
The tone is to say thank you and to talk about the optimism that I have for the future.
Fresh off a landslide victory in November, Bloomberg will no doubt trumpet the city's falling crime rate and rising test scores. But with the city enjoying relative peace and prosperity, his major challenge may be to find a compelling theme for his next administration. Former mayoral candidate and Congressman Anthony Weiner has some suggestions for Bloomberg.
The city is in good shape overall, but there are some real things that the mayor has to put on his to-do list if he wants to be remembered as a great mayor.
The Democrat points to Ground Zero, which is still a construction site 4 years after the attacks. Bloomberg has already pledged to take more of a leadership role there, but there's more.
We have debt reaching all-time high. We have over 500,000 children that have shown up at soup kitchens for meals. And you've got the middle class in this city who are feeling increasingly insecure because their taxes have gone up and frankly their incomes have stayed flat.
Bloomberg says there will be no policy proposals Sunday, but instead a promise to move ahead on some nagging problems.
We've put in place some of the building blocks that we can take the city forward on, and that's the place to talk about those.
CBS 2 Andrew Kurtzman reporting there. Meantime, a police officer recovering this morning after being hit by a car on the Grand Central Parkway in Queens. The officer was patrolling a DWI checkpoint when he was hit and hurt in his leg. The female driver, who police say may have been under the influence, was also hurt. The officer is expected to recover, and the accident remains under investigation.
A bad start to the new year for the crime rate in New York City. A 17-year-old boy was stabbed to death just after 1:30 this morning in Queens. Nearly an hour later, a 38-year-old man was shot and killed in Harlem. This comes just as the city released its crime stats for 2005. Officials say New York City had fewer killings last year than it has had in 40 years, but it still remains #1 for the most murders. As of Friday, New York City had 537 homicides. Los Angeles reported 480 homicides through Friday, and as of yesterday, Chicago had 446. A Brooklyn mother is spending the new year in jail. 25-year-old Latifah Bunches pleaded not guilty to murder and manslaughter charges in the beating death of her 1-year-old son. The medical examiner's office says her son, Joshua, probably died from hemorrhaging of the liver. If convicted, Bunch faces up to 25 years in prison.
Well, some furious Amtrak riders demanding answers this morning after their train arrived in New York more than 28 hours late. Over 100 angry and worn-out passengers got off the train when it finally arrived at Penn Station yesterday. The trip began in Florida and was delayed several times by a freight train derailment. Those on board say the situation was not handled properly.
We had to be in the same seat for practically 48 hours, and it was just, it was disgusting because they didn't clean out the bathrooms for a while. They wouldn't even flush.
I'm tired. I'm frustrated. There was no apology.
I want my money back.
An Amtrak spokesperson said the railroad regrets the inconvenience that caused the riders, but had no comment on possible refunds.
This morning, police are still searching for the vandals who tore apart a nativity scene outside a New Jersey church. CBS 2's Wendy Gillette has more from Sayreville.
Father Kenneth Murphy can only pray as he surveys what's left of a giant crucifix that used to mark the center of St. Stanislaus Kostka Cemetery in Sayreville. The cross and statue of Jesus that vandals brought down are in pieces.
I was very saddened and disappointed. It was disheartening to hear that there was vandalism in the cemetery, and it's always very hard to understand why people do things like this.
The vandals also took one of the statue's arms, a sign on top of the decades-old crucifix, and destroyed or stole a few items from the church's nativity scene, including baby Jesus.
80 headquarters.
Good, Matt. One of the detectives investigating the crime is also a member of the predominantly Polish congregation.
Who would want to do this, especially this season, Christmas season? When I told my wife, my kids, they just didn't believe it.
Because police say this wasn't just the work of mischievous teens.
Whoever did this placed either a rope or some type of cable around this portion of her cross.
Detective Bendersky says the vandals then used a truck to bring the crucifix down.
You know what, they were probably trying to pull it down the street.
The crime also incenses Sayreville's mayor, who calls it a hate crime. That could increase criminal penalties if someone's caught and prosecuted.
I was outraged. I was outraged as a resident of the borough of Sayreville. I was outraged as a practicing Catholic, and I was outraged as the mayor. This is the first and only time this has happened in our borough, and this is the last time this will happen in our borough.
The Sayreville Police Department is offering a $5,000 reward to try to help solve this case. If you have any information, call Sayreville Police. Your identity will be kept confidential. In Sayreville, Wendy Gillette, CBS 2 News.
All right, 10 minutes after the hour on this Sunday morning, the first day of 2006, and it was a New Year's Eve one giant won't soon forget. The Tiki Torch was lit on the West Coast, helping Big Blue to run away with a division title.
Meanwhile, Northern California is bracing for another day of heavy rains and floods. Jeff, any rain in our forecast?
Yeah, there is some rain in our forecast, but the good news is we're starting 2006 off on the right note. On Viper right now, the storm has moved out to sea. Everything's looking good, but the rain that you just asked about and the rain that I'm about to talk about is located out here. Doesn't look like much right now. This storm is getting its act together. It's going to be headed east, and that means another messy mixture and some rain moving our way. I'll talk about it coming up next.
great savings at Treasure Island. It's our final Christmas sale, and it starts 10 a.m. New Year's Day. We've made even further reductions, which means you can save up to 70% off everything in our Christmas shop. And for a limited time, our entire craft shop is 25 to 70% off, too, including flowers, gifts, frames, wall hangings, Hallmark, and everything else. Everything's up to 70% off, so come on in and start saving.
Treasure Island's huge Christmas clearance sale is on now. Treasure Island is America's Christmas store.
We wish you a happy Honda day. We wish you a happy Honda day. We wish you a happy Honda day for a happier new year.
Tis the time to see the 2006 Honda Pilot. It's spacious, it's comfortable, and even better, it's the most fuel-efficient 8-passenger SUV. Don't wait too long. Lease a Honda Pilot for $259 a month with a total drive-off of $1,500 for well-qualified customers.
Happy Honda days!
If you're even thinking about taking a vacation in 06, you'll find the trip of a lifetime at Adventures in Travel Expo, January 14th and 15th at the Jacob Javits Convention Center. There are National Geographic seminars, adventure activities, and exhibitors from around the planet. On Saturday, venture off to the Survivor Open Casting Call between 10 a.m. and 12 noon. Meet former Survivor contestants Jenna Baraska and Burton Roberts. Log on to WCBS-TV.com for further details. If you have what it takes, don't miss the Adventures in Travel Expo. Here's today's starting lineup on CBS 2, brought to you by Mercedes-Benz.
The city that never sleeps is probably taking a little nap this morning after quite a party last night. 2005 ended with, I would love to be taking a nap. Taking a live look from Weehawken, New Jersey. Listening to Rob Thomas's Lonely Noir. Throughout the show, we're going to listen to 2005 #1 hits in the music industry. But we welcomed in 2006, of course, 7 hours, 14 minutes ago and 17 seconds. Well, welcome back to CBS 2 News Sunday morning, Jeff. California, we're going to start off the new year with some wild weather out there. This was the scene on Interstate 80 on New Year's Eve. DOT workers cleaning up debris from 2 mudslides. I-80 was shut down after a powerful storm swept through the area, causing mudslides to cover a 7-mile stretch of the highway. 6 tractor trailers were nearly caught in the mudslides. Fortunately, though, no one was hurt. California state officials are ordering mandatory evacuations for some residents hit hard by the powerful storm. People in Monte Rio were forced to evacuate yesterday as the banks of the Russian River crested higher and higher. At least 6 helicopter rescues were performed in Sonoma County. Forecasters say another storm, believe it or not, could hit the area today, but flood levels are not expected to exceed yesterday's deluge. Meanwhile, in Southern California, another storm is causing severe flooding in Los Angeles. Storm dumped about 1 inch of rain to low-lying areas and up to 2 inches in the mountains. In one beach community, water seeped through doors and surged up through storm drains. A second, considerably stronger storm is expected today. So I guess as bad as we had it recently, well, it could be a lot worse. We had a beautiful, you and I talked about this last night. Yesterday, you were in Central Park. I was in Central Park.
Yeah, phenomenal.
You were working.
Thank you.
You were in Times Square, but it was spectacular. That snow we got.
Yeah, but we had some rain in Times Square. I was worried about that. It's going to be a long night, I
thought. It was slushy, but then when the snow really started to come down hard, it cooled the atmosphere off a bit, and it changed to that really wet, heavy snow. Great packing snow, by the way. I beat my girlfriend in a snowball fight, in case you were wondering.
That's not fair.
Yeah, well,
she
didn't fight back.
She had both arms tied behind her back.
All right, folks. Want to ask you about your New Year's resolutions. We'll be talking about that as the show goes on. So, if you can email me your New Year's resolutions, if you have any of them, jberardelli@cbs.com. Again, jberardelli@cbs.com. You can check for the email on the website, or you can just copy it down right here. Folks, we have a lot of weather to talk about, believe it or not. Today's going to be fine. Outside right now, it's cloudy. We're looking from Weehawken towards the city right now, and you can see the clouds sticking around. But those will be breaking up as the day goes on, and as they do so, we're going to see some sunshine, and all in all, it's going to be nice with temperatures in the upper 30s to near 40. That's about seasonable for this time of year. Obviously a little on the chilly side. Right now on Live Doppler, nothing's really going on. All's quiet, maybe a flurry or two passing by. That's just about it. Temperature-wise across the area, north and west, we're in the 20s right now. In the city, we're in the 30s. So 34 degrees in Central Park will about do it. 30 degrees in Belmar, 26 degrees in Poughkeepsie right now. Temperatures right around freezing in West Hampton and Islip. So it's worth mentioning that the roads are obviously icy this morning because of all the melted precip we had yesterday. It's refreezing on the road. So be careful as you drive around really anywhere in the area. Everyone's temperatures are about freezing. Here's the burst of snow that we had yesterday. It only lasted 2 or 3 hours, but it did manage to dump about 2 to 3 inches of snow, especially north of the city. We had a couple of flurries last night. That's just about it. Now we're drying out, as you can see. Our next storm is in the making right now. You can see this big mass of clouds around Denver and into the Plain States. That's going to be headed east, and as it does so, it's going to start to pump up some warm air. We'll get back to that in a second. In the meantime, there's the area of low pressure that's moving off the east coast right now. A couple of flurries left over in eastern New England this morning. That's just about it. Otherwise, a sunny start to 2006 once we clear the skies out, and that'll be happening over the next couple hours. Here comes our next system as we put the maps in motion. A warm front heads our way. Now, tomorrow morning, we could start to see the precip develop in the early morning hours around the morning rush or just after. If so, it could make travel tricky, especially north and west of the city. Along the coast, this is mainly going to be a rain event, but north and west, it could get messy, so keep it tuned here, and we'll keep you updated. On Tuesday, as colder air begins to spiral in, the storm will exit, and it could very well end as snow, and then another storm as we head into Thursday, Friday, and perhaps Saturday as well. Just want to tell you about this, the 27th named storm of the tropical season of 2005. This is Tropical Storm Zeta, winds 50 miles an hour. Nothing to worry about, but certainly something to talk about. Here's your forecast. Clouds part with some chilly sunshine this afternoon, 39 degrees. And here's a look at your extended forecast now. Tomorrow is going to be a tricky day. Along the coast, it should mainly be rain, but there could be a couple of wet snowflakes. North and west, it could be a mixture of snow and ice for a while, making it real tricky. Everything ends as some snow and rain early on Tuesday, a break on Wednesday, a cold front on Thursday, colder with a snowstorm, perhaps. By the end of the week, we'll be on top of it, but certainly a very active weather pattern right now.
Storm, winter, rain, snow showers.
And then back to winter cold by the end of the week.
Sure, it's warm. Warm lead, I should say. Warm lead and an umbrella.
Boots, exactly. And a shovel, perhaps.
All right, JB. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. We'll check back with you later. All right, let's talk sports now. The Giants are looking to run over the Raiders and bring home that wanted division title.
That's right. Tina Cervasio has all the highlights.
Good morning. Happy New Year. Well, last night on New Year's Eve, Giants looking to clinch the NFC East title for the first time in 5 years. In Oakland, the Raiders playing for blood. Former Giant Kerry Collins out for revenge after being forced out of New York, but the Giants hang tough. In the black hole, just a few minutes into the game, Tiki Barber breaks away. Breaks a tackle as well. Watch for Plaxico Burress coming down the sideline, showing great blocking, and then 95 yards later, a Tiki touchdown. Puts the G-Men on the board 7-0, the longest touchdown run in Giants history. Now 10-7 Giants in the second. Eli Manning airs it out to Plaxico. Burress hauls in a 78-yard touchdown, and the Giants go on top 17-7. Oakland keeps it close, but the Giants lead 20-14 at the half. In the third quarter, Chad Morton gives Big Blue great field position. Returns this punt 58 yards. Almost makes it all the way, but pulled down at the last second by Justin Fargas. 2 plays later, Brandon Jacobs barrels in for a 1-yard TD. Giants lead 26-14. And the Giants hold on to win and clinch the NFC East Division title. Well, today, 1 o'clock at the Meadowlands, the Jets host the Buffalo Bills. With a loss, the Jets could be in contention for the top pick in the NFL draft, likely Heisman winner Reggie Bush. But 4 other teams are also 3-12 or worse heading into today's games. Well, that's a look at sports this morning. I'll have some more highlights on the ice and a little college hoops later on. But for now, back to you guys.
Tina, thank you. Well, resolutions are as much a part of New Year celebrations as watching the ball drop. But as Alexis Christophers tells us, some solid financial resolutions might be making next year's party even more fun.
It's that time of year to pop the champagne and pledge your New Year's resolutions. For more than a third of Americans, it's all about getting fiscally fit.
Pay off credit card debt, student loans, and plan better for retirement.
I'm hoping to try to save more money to pay off my credit card.
But a recent survey found financial resolutions are the hardest to keep, ahead of losing weight and quitting smoking.
You should do everything you can in order to make the goal as real as possible. Write it down, put Post-it notes on your bathroom mirror.
Financial planner Paula Kennedy says, like all resolutions, keeping financial goals simple and specific are key.
Really figuring out how much money you spend each day, each week, each month. It's really important.
Consider this, that $3 cup of gourmet coffee each morning adds up to about $1,100 a year. Money that can go into a college fund or savings plan for a rainy day. Other suggestions: don't spend more than you make. Americans had a negative savings rate this year for the first time in nearly a half-century. Pay down that credit card debt, tackle the highest interest rate card first, and pay more than just the minimum amount due each month. Make a will to protect your loved ones and your assets, and save for the future. Increase your contribution to your company 401k plan. Make an annual IRA contribution on top of your 401k savings. And remember to have fun with it.
If you treat it as a game, it makes it fun, and you win.
And if you win, this year's financial resolutions can provide you with benefits long after 2006 is over. Alexis Christoforous, CBS 2 News.
Time now 7:22. We'll be back in a moment.
Hey, the Chevy Red Tag event ends January 3rd.
So you better hurry in before the deals end. Drive away with confidence knowing you got a great deal on this 06 Trailblazer.
And just in time for the new year, get the best lease yet on an 06 Equinox. Lease an Equinox LS front-wheel drive for around $189 a month.
Lease a Trailblazer LS four-wheel drive for around $269 a month. Residency restrictions apply. Call for details. So hurry in. The Chevy Red Tag event ends January 3rd.
Visit ChevyOffers.com.
What's my favorite holiday movie? It's A Wonderful Life.
My favorite holiday movie is Miracle on 34th Street.
I see it every year, at least once a year, sometimes 2 and 3 times.
He was really Santa. I love that.
Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Frosty the Snowman, the movie A Christmas Story.
My brother and I can practically recite the whole Christmas Story.
My favorite Christmas special, well, that's when the Knicks play on Christmas Day, and even better when they win.
Happy holidays, everybody.
From all of us here at CBS 2.
I pay you $500 to do that?
Like the thunderbolt in your cereal, wake up and smell the toxic waste.
The Supreme Wisdom of David Lee Roth. Mornings on 92.3 Free FM starting January 3rd.
Life doesn't stop in the winter. Not in a Ford F-150. The highest-ranked full-size pickup and initial quality by J.D. Power. It's got best-in-class towing capacity and payload, plus the luxury of quiet steel. No wonder it's the best-selling vehicle on the planet. Get into a new Ford F-150 for just $199 a month for 24 months. So take on winter in a built Ford Tough F-150 at your tri-state quality Ford dealer today.
It was called the Story of the Year in the United States back in 2005, not back too long ago. Hurricane Katrina showing no mercy on the Gulf Coast.
Who will ever forget the pictures of so much suffering and loss and so much frustration and anger? CBS correspondent Bianca Solorzano takes a look back at the worst U.S. natural disaster to date.
Katrina teased with torment in southern Florida as a Category 1 hurricane, but it was her cross into the warm Gulf of Mexico that fueled her fury.
This will be a catastrophic event happening tomorrow in Louisiana and the Gulf Coast.
While Gulf Coast residents scrambled to evacuate, Katrina grew and finally slammed ashore as one of the strongest hurricanes to hit the northern Gulf Coast in half a century. Damage and death throughout the coast of Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. In New Orleans, a longtime fear came true. 2 major levees were breached, and the water mercilessly poured in.
Absolute devastation. There is water everywhere throughout this area. Hundreds and thousands of homes completely flooded.
The work of recovering bodies took a back seat to rescuing the stranded. Survivors were taken to the already crowded Superdome and Convention Center. Supplies were dwindling, conditions deteriorating, and frustrations growing.
If we die up here, it's because of the state of Louisiana. Just let us die up here.
3-week-old baby out here. They don't have no formula, no water, and they want us to survive out here. Where's FEMA? Where's the mayor?
While rescue crews continued to search for survivors and defiant holdouts, the Army Corps of Engineers focused on pumping out an 80% flooded city and patching up the damaged levees. But many questioned how FEMA handled the disaster. Looting in the streets, bodies still not recovered, a city barely getting by.
Now get off your and let's do something, and let's fix the biggest crisis in the history of this country.
I'm certainly not denigrating the efforts of anybody.
but the results can be better.
FEMA's leader was soon replaced. When the National Guard and relief finally arrived, tens of thousands just wanted to get out. And they did by the busload. As New Orleans dried out more each day, the mayor invited people back home to the least damaged areas. But that invitation may have been premature.
The stench in the air was horrible, and I took sick. And I had been really feeling bad ever since I got back.
The city still lacked basic services, and yet another hurricane was on its way. Hurricane Rita passed through, reflooding the hardest hit 9th Ward, but residents held on to hope.
There is no way to imagine America without New Orleans, and this great city will rise again.
Slowly, but surely. Those who still call New Orleans home say they'll do whatever it takes to bring the Big Easy back. Bianca Solorzano, CBS News.
Time now 7:28. The sweet sound of success could be heard all along the Great White Way. One of the plays helping to propel Broadway to one of its greatest years ever pays tribute to a couple of guys from Jersey who made music history.
And New Year's celebrations around the world. We're going to show some of the most extravagant ways 2006 was welcomed in.